and Mayor Pro Tem will be here shortly. But I welcome everybody. This is a special committee on advisory boards and commissions, and this is the chance for everyone to weigh in. I'm going to hand it over to Assistant City Manager Evan Raleigh to just give a little background, and then we'll literally just open this up for y'all.
Certainly. Good evening, Mayor and members of the committee. To get our conversation started tonight, we will hear a presentation from Ms. Taisha Mosley with the Department of Community Engagement to recap some of the actions that Council has already enacted related to changes to the structure and function of boards and commissions, and she'll also kind of remind us some of the unresolved points of discussion that are still being considered at this point but have not yet been adopted. So without further ado, I will turn things over to Ms. Mosley to take us through the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Raleigh. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Taisha Mosley with the Community Engagement Department. And I won't be before you long. Just wanted to show you what we're going to talk about in our few moments together before you open it up to public comment. So briefly, I'll review the committee's charge, talk a little bit about the actions that you all have already adopted since you've begun meeting as a special committee, talk briefly about the status of vacancies on the Community Engagement Board, and then to Mr. Raleigh's point, we'll revisit some of those outstanding items for you all. And so for the public's awareness, the special committee was established in March at the March 18th City Council meeting and was charged with reviewing the structure, bylaws, and composition of other matters related to advisory boards and commissions. You've had several meetings, and those meetings have also gone to the full council with your recommendations, and here are those previously authorized actions. So you've adopted a standardized bylaws template to be used by all advisory boards and commissions. You've adopted guidance for those on city council who support boards and commissions as a council liaison. You made the decision to merge the Historic Cemeteries Advisory Board, and so therefore there was a resolution that authorized the dissolution of that group so that they can be consolidated with the Historical Resources and Museums Board. You've also adopted an ordinance to change the name of the Fair Housing, previously the Fair Housing Hearing Board to now the Fair Housing Advisory Board. And then you've also adopted an ordinance to change the name of the Mayor's Committee for Persons with Disabilities to the Raleigh Commission for Persons with Disabilities. In that, it included aligning the board's appointment terms and removal process with your other advisory boards and commissions. Administratively, we've clarified orientation and onboarding expectations with staff liaisons. We're in the process of enhancing board applications to include the estimated hours per month so that when someone's applying to a board, they have an idea of the time commitment. We've updated the work plan templates to align with the current FY26-29 strategic plan. And then we've developed a meeting structure that encourages the collaboration of board leadership across multiple boards and commissions. A part of the conversation since March has been looking at alignment in the strategic plan, alignment in goals and missions of different boards and commissions. And so you've had a lot of conversation around that. And so this slide just shows you the boards who are similar in some ways, mission, vision, strategic plan alignment. And these are the 6 that are remaining for discussion, with a parent board and then a reorganized composition. So in this example here, you've considered combining the Human Relations Commission as the parent board and then some standing committees under that, including Hispanic and Immigrant Affairs, the Substance Use Advisory Board, and the Unceded African American Affairs Board, as well as the Raleigh Transit Authority and the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. There was, in 2 meetings ago, conversation about adding the Mayor's Committee for Persons with Disabilities there, but you all made a decision to remove them and allow them to be standalone, so that's why that second line looks a little different. This is how it would look in theory. So multiple boards and commissions could merge to become one. That total number of overall seats could be determined at a future date. And through expiration of terms or vacancies, your specified board size would be achieved through natural attrition. Those former standalone boards would become standing committees, and then you would allow the committees to establish membership through self-selection. There was also conversations or questions around the vacancies and resignations of the Community Engagement Board. So we just have a couple of slides to shed light on the status there. So the Community Engagement Board was created in 2022 to help develop, evaluate, and implement the city's community engagement efforts. There are 16 seats on that board. There are specific seats, like there's a seat specifically for someone who's never served on a board or commission or someone who's a renter. To date, that board has created or reviewed surveys related to the city's public comment policy. They've partnered with Raleigh Television Network to produce a video that educates residents on how to prepare for public comment. And they've explored the use of digital engagement platforms to enhance resident voices in our processes. Currently, there are 2 inaugural board members, so 2 people that were appointed in 2022 who are seeking reappointment, another individual that was been on the board for a while who's seeking reappointment. 4 members of the board are not seeking reappointment to focus on other priorities. They were also appointed in 2022. And then 4 of the resignations that you have before you are due to life transitions, like the youth seat, the individual that was there graduated from college and relocated. So different life transitions have contributed to the vacancies. So your outstanding items for consideration include next steps for the Community Engagement Board. There's also an ask to consider changing the name of the Raleigh Transit Authority. We've received feedback from authority members and staff that that body does not have authority scope, and so they're asking you, similar to the Fair Housing Hearing Board, who does not take hearings, to consider a name change there, and then the reorganization of these 6 boards that we talked about earlier. So, any questions for me before you open up your public comment?
Thank you so much. For the onboarding process, can you briefly just help me understand what that looks like and if it's consistent throughout every board moving forward, or how that was
That's
worked
a good question. So the Community Engagement Board supports the staff liaisons, the Community Engagement Department supports the staff liaisons of each of your advisory boards and commissions. So we have a standard onboarding handbook that's been updated, and we train the staff liaisons on that. And then in our last 2 meetings with staff liaisons, we talked to them about the importance of them developing their department-specific or board-specific onboarding expectations, and that may vary. So our staff is working with the staff liaisons to figure out how we can support them in that. Our primary role has been updating the general onboarding handbook so that they're receiving the same information.
And does that process include, like, the chair? Is it a staff-driven onboarding, or is it also including board members in that onboarding process?
Yeah, it includes the board members.
It does, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then I just had one question. You cited develop a meeting structure that encourages collaboration. And I wasn't sure exactly what that meant.
Sure.
We had discussed that instead of a summer social just being a social, that there might be some plenary where we draw together all the people on the various advisory boards for a more structured substance sort of gathering. So could you just comment on that?
That is the same meeting.
Okay.
So we did not have the summer social this year due to everything that's happening now. So we're planning for the fall, once we get some decisions made, how we can bring board leadership together for those types of plenary sessions, collaboration, and planning meetings. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just one.
Welcome. Yes.
So I'm no longer the liaison to the Raleigh Transit Authority. So when the board says it doesn't have authority, help me understand, because my understanding is it's budgetary items that still the council has to dictate, but everything else, where stop goes, how routes change, all of that, the authority does have the ability to do.
Yes.
So help me figure out what the
Sure.
disconnect is.
The example that was given is that there are other bodies at maybe the state or other municipality levels who have different types of responsibilities that give them more governing and decision-making power. And so that was the recommendation, to relook at that word authority to make it more relations to what the board is actually responsible for.
My sense is, do they have a dedicated revenue stream that they have fiduciary responsibility over, is an authority?
No, they don't.
Right. So I think that was the comment.
So it's just the ability to dictate how the money is spent.
Is that the distinction?
So is it around trying to figure out, because I'm repeating what I'm hearing, so
Yep.
y'all can see if I'm understanding it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
They want the ability to dictate how the money is spent.
I think it's because they don't have that ability.
Okay.
And so therefore, having the Raleigh Transit Authority is
Okay.
why it's not necessarily reflective of their charge or of their scope.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
You are welcome.
And so we were just going to have 3 minutes per person who wants to weigh in. There's no prior sign up, so this will be a little bit more chaotic is what I was going to say maybe. But we did want to say, if there are chairs or vice chairs who want to speak and, represent your board, I would prioritize those individuals. And then after they've spoken, anyone obviously can come up, but just thought perhaps chairs and vice chairs who are here would give you some priority.
DePonta Copeland's with the Raleigh Housing Advisory Board, and she's the chair.
Okay.
Will she need a mic?
Would you want them to bring a mic to you, or do you want to come up? Okay.
DeQuanta Copeland, Fair Housing Hearing Board Vice Chair. I wanted to speak on the name change for the Fair Housing Hearing Board. In more recent years, the board have not heard any cases, but that's only because council would not give the substantial equivalency for us to be able to have subpoena power. However, we are a legal board that is mandated by state ordinance as well as federal. So when you all voted to change our name, it wasn't within your power because we're under ordinance to be a hearing board. So when you change us from a hearing board to advisory, everything concerning our board will change. Our mission, our vision, the action goes from action-prone board to advisory. I do thank you all for not considering trying to merge us, though. Thank you for that. But the legal portion of changing our name, it hinders or it conflicts with the state ordinance that we have, that we're mandated by, that the city is mandated by. I forwarded that email to Council Mayor Pro Tem Ford. Corey, I FYI'd you. I sent it to you via email. You got it today. I just did it. Okay. But, and when we had our last board meeting that our liaison was in, we were told that you all will come back to us with the conversation after talking to legal, because neither elected council nor staff knew that we were under legal ordinance and that you all should not have voted to change our name. So I understand if you want to, but we still have a legal requirement to represent the city in this, especially with the Human Relations Commission from the state going from 8 investigators to 2, as well as the legal aid. I'm sorry, elderly mind right quick, I'm sorry. But legal aid just went from 103 employees down to 3. So federally, they're going to pull on the municipalities. We've had the conversations with our liaison. She stated her concerns as to why we shouldn't do hearings, but we still have a requirement to address things in the way that we were already established. So technically, council did not have the ability to change our name.
Thank you. All right, next speaker. Jamie, do you want to go ahead? Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I wasn't sure exactly what to say tonight because after all this time, I still don't know what direction you guys are actually going in, so I don't know what to speak to. But I do think that the boards and commissions do need some attention paid to. I think there are great things you could do to help us be more effective, like organizing and getting standards in place, like actual training so that we know what we're doing when people come on board. We could have actual rules outlined so that people know what to expect of the commission when they come on board. There's none of that. There's no way to find documents. I was speaking to Christina about how it would be great to have a SharePoint page so that myself right now and going forward, 10 years from now, the HRC can easily reference what's been done and what has been done in the past, what's done in the future. There's none of that. It is owned by each chair. Like, there is no housing of that. So when I leave, that information leaves. I was going through some old minutes, and I saw that we actually were given a SharePoint page in 2020 that nobody knows about. And this is the type of stuff that we should really work on to make us a lot more effective. I think it'll improve communication between liaisons, between the staff, between everybody, if everybody understands the ground rules when they're on the board or commission. I think that's about it.
Before you step away, could you give your name and what board
Oh,
you're
sorry.
on?
Jamie Robinson. I am the chair of the Human Relations Commission.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Cowell, council members, and fellow commissioners. My name is Saul Parada, and I'm the chairman of the Substance Use Advisory Commission. Thank you for your continued support for our work and for the guidance of our city council and staff liaisons. Communication between council, staff, and commissions is essential for us to be effective. As council considers changes to boards and commissions, I encourage you to define and share your goals for these bodies. Boards and commissions often serve as the bridge connecting community voices and information back to council. To serve better in this role, we need clear expectations so our work not only informs but also supports the direction you want to see for Raleigh. I also urge collaboration over consolidation. Boards and commissions with related missions can share resources and expertise without merging. SUAC exists because substance use is among Raleigh's, like many other cities, most pressing and nuanced challenges, particularly as it affects individuals facing homelessness and mental health crisis. We want to advocate for uplift vulnerable communities, working towards a healthier and more compassionate Raleigh. The work deserves its own dedicated space. On behalf of SUAC, I ask you to continue supporting our independence while encouraging and supporting the collaboration across boards and commissions so together we can best serve Raleigh's residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, welcome anyone. Jen Truman standing up, but then maybe Robert Courts after that. Yeah. Yeah. Come on down.
Hi, Jen Truman. I'm chair for the Raleigh Transit Authority. And I didn't prepare comments because I wasn't sure exactly what we were going to be talking about tonight. First, I will say that myself and the other members of the Transit Authority that are here tonight were surprised to hear that the name request change came from us. We're not aware that it did. I pulled up in front of me and double-checked that I'm not missing anything. The original charter for the Raleigh Transit Authority from 1975. This is 50 years of volunteer board work that has made the CAT bus system and now the Go Raleigh system in cooperation with staff and the management companies what it is today. I really love my friends at BPAC. We get along great. We talk often. We come to each other's meetings so that we can coordinate things. I can understand some logic behind wanting to merge the boards, but I really hesitate to say that we should actually do it at this point in time. We have a lot of transit-specific work over the last 10 years and the next 10 years that Raleigh has to accomplish. My vice chair, LaTanya Williams, pointed out that the Raleigh Transit Authority has partnerships outside of Raleigh with Campo, with Go Triangle, with through our staff and through their other volunteer boards, where we're coordinating and negotiating agreements for services and routes in the function of an authority. Really, there's nothing in our original charter from 1975 that we're not still doing today. So I wanted to bring that to your attention and say that we would really love to have some joint meetings, some more structured collaboration between bicycle, pedestrian, their staff with Vision Zero, and those transportation departments and our transit staff. I think, I won't speak for staff, but I imagine that they would also appreciate collaboration of the different people who care about how people get off the bus and walk. But if you're not going to think of reorganizing the staff in those separate departments, it seems a shame to cut down the number of passionate advocates that you have showing up to meetings regularly about those topics. I probably left something out, so please come up, my other board members. And also, we love our friends at the Mayor's Committee, persons with disabilities, but we recognize that they don't only ride transit and they have other needs, so we appreciate you keeping their board as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Robert Courts, and I serve as the Secretary to the Human Relations Commission. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to convene an informal meeting with members from several of Raleigh's boards and commissions. 9 of us participated, representing the Substance Use Advisory Commission, the Raleigh Transit Authority, the Fair Housing Advisory Board, and the Human Relations Commission. Our goal was simple: to connect across boards, share experiences, and explore how we can best represent the communities we serve as the city moves forward with its reorganization efforts. From the start, it was clear that what unites us is our shared commitment to the work of our boards and commissions. We see ourselves as bridges between residents, staff, and council. Our members are deeply invested in the work that we do, and we all want to ensure that Raleigh's boards and commissions continue to strengthen the city and the people we serve effectively. We also discussed areas where the process has represented challenge. Members shared that communication has sometimes been unclear and that more opportunities for input could help capture the real experiences and perspectives of those serving on boards and commissions. These conversations were honest, but always constructive, with a focus on solutions rather than blame. Importantly, our discussion was very optimistic. We agreed that thoughtful restructuring could make boards and commissions even stronger, more effective, and better equipped to serve Raleigh. Achieving this vision requires clear goals, consistent guidelines, and the insight from members of boards and commissions, both past and present, who understand the work firsthand. We hope to continue a collaborative dialogue. We encourage council and staff to involve board and commissioners members meaningfully as the process moves forward. And we welcome opportunities for ongoing communication and feedback. To my fellow citizens, your voices are vital. Attend these sessions, share your experience and engagement with the council and staff so that we can work together to strengthen citizen involvement in Raleigh. Council members and staff, we, the board and commission members, stand ready to partner with you in this process. Together, we can build boards and commissions that reflect the dedication, diversity, and energy of our community, ensuring that Raleigh remains a city where citizen engagement thrives. Thank you.
Thanks.
Greetings, member of the Raleigh City Council. My name is Manzoor Chima. I'm a resident of Raleigh, North Carolina, and a grassroots social justice organizer for the last 25 years. I'm also a member of Raleigh Human Relations Commission. As our fellow Commissioner Robert Coates mentioned, the Raleigh's commission and boards and eyes and ears for the city. We are working in the community. I am working in the refugee, low-income Black and brown community members who are paying 50 to 60% of income on rent. They are living in rat-infested, mold-infested housing. They don't have education justice, healthcare injustice, transportation. We are seeing those things with our eyes, and we are working on those communities. And those Raleigh Human Relations Commission meetings and our teams then advise and give feedback to the city. And in that sense, the different commissions and boards as an asset for the city. Any conversation even about these boards, whether they need to be merged or what's efficient, has to be done in consultation with the actual board members and commissioners who have dedicated decades of their work in responding to those crises in the community, whether it makes sense for us to have 42 members or a current size of 16 members. We have to be efficient. We have 6 different teams in the Raleigh Human Relations Commission. We also discuss more than $1 million grants. So we need to, which go to, and oftentimes even there we say, not a lot of people in the city of Raleigh even know about those grants. So we want to make things efficient, but the whole process should have the actual board members and commissioners in table with you and discuss what is the best way to move forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Cole McMullen. I've been on the Police Advisory Board for 2 years, and I'm currently vice chair. Our mission is to help build trust and relationships between the Raleigh Police Department and the community, review existing RPD procedures, contributing to fair policy development, and engage community members through educational outreach on RPD directives. At our most recent Police Advisory Board meeting on August 27th, city staff informed us that we would not be merging with another board or commission and that we would be able to continue to focus on our mission. I'm here to speak just as one individual member of the board, not for the board as a whole. But my impression was that our general reaction to this news was one of appreciation and relief. The Police Advisory Board's mission is distinct from that of any other board or commission, and a forced merger or disbandment of the board raises concerns that our work may go by the wayside, which would be a devastating loss for the community. I don't think it's a stretch to say that many other boards and commissions feel similarly about the work they are doing. That said, I realize there may be opportunities for boards and commissions to collaborate with each other on certain issues so as not to duplicate efforts, and maybe those collaborations aren't happening in our current structure. However, I'm skeptical that a top-down reorganization is what is needed to enhance collaboration and communication across boards and commissions. Instead, I would ask City Council to instead identify issues that require collaboration, which boards or commissions they would request work together to address that issue, and get those boards and commissions in contact with each other. It is essential that City Council provide a clearly defined goal and solid guidelines as a starting point for the hypothetical collaboration. That way, board and commission members have a clear understanding of what is being asked of them, and they can provide valuable input and insights on how the issue might be addressed. I don't think personally that any board or commission should be merged unless the majority of its members agree that a merger is in the best interest of the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Joe Caruso. I am the current chair of BPAC, the Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. I largely just wanted to echo the comments from Ms. Truman and our friends at RTA. I feel that both BPAC and RTA have quite a significant number of items that are currently in flight and hopefully over the next decade, both with RTA working through the Wake Transit Plan and BPAC with a number of initiatives that the city has to improve multimodal access to the city. I feel that both commissions have a large amount of work on every month on their agenda, and I feel there's a real concern that if the two commissions were merged together, that there would be even less time to address these critical items and really get into the details that is really required to make the best decisions and the best plans moving forward. As was mentioned, a number of the members of BPAC already attend the committee meetings on RTA and vice versa. So there already is a bit of collaboration between the two commissions. I certainly feel that we could do more in that arena, but I don't feel that sort of formally merging them together would be in the best interest of the city, especially considering that, as far as I'm aware, the staff resources that sort of align with those commissions will still remain separate. If there was sort of a larger scale reorganization where everything moved together, then that may make more sense. But with our staff liaisons continuing to be in separate departments, I feel that there's a lot of concern that it would end up just leading to items not getting the appropriate amount of attention that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carmen Cawthon. I am not a member of a board or commission any longer. I was on the Community Engagement Board, and that was quite a piece of work to begin to create that from the beginning. What I really want to say is that I would like, as you all are going through this process, to recognize, as someone said, some of these boards and commissions are 50 years old. When they were started, it was because there were issues, black and white, in this city that haven't gone away. The history of some of these boards and commissions needs to be reevaluated, and the people who are on the boards and commissions, as well as the council members, need to understand why they were started. Some of the powers that were originally in some of these, I would say the Fair Housing Hearing Board and the Human Relations Commission, were started because there were serious issues with people in the community. Some of the things that they had to deal with were taken away in other mergers. And I believe it's important for the history of why boards and commissions were started to be carried somewhere in their charge, in their onboarding, so that that original vision is not lost in the process. And those of you who know that I'm a historian know that that's important to me, including my mother was on the original housing, not fair housing, but the Human Relations Commission. And it was done because of housing in Primera back 50 years ago. So I think it's important to recognize why things are started and what the needs still are, even 50 years out. And so I would urge you to make that to be part of your deliberations and your decisions as you go forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Dr. Ulysses Lane, and I'm a member of the CEB, which is the Community Engagement Board, and also chair of the Southeast Citizen Advisory Council and president of my neighborhood organization. I wasn't really going to speak when I came because I was hoping our leadership was here, but I did want to say something since we brought up a little information about the CEB. I've been involved with citizen engagement for years, as you know. I'm in it to win it. I'm in it for the residents, so no matter what happens. But I did want to make a few comments on some things about this CEB board to remind us that this was one of the newer boards that developed, and I think this board tried to develop in a way to address a lot of issues that other boards may have gotten away from. And so we tried to develop some things there. And in developing those things, we even tried to develop a unique mission. But in some of the ways with onboarding that was mentioned, we noticed that individuals have to have this orientation before they come on the board. For example, they have to have a onboarding from the council member that's appointing them so that they know what their expectations are and what to support. They have to have the onboarding orientation from the staff, and they also have to have the onboarding orientation from the committee officers. There's a lot going on when they come on, and these individuals may get shocked when they come on and say, this is not what I've been looking for, I'm out of here. Because you got volunteers, you got students and everything of all different ranges. So we really have to prepare them for that next step. And then some of the other things is that this board, you mentioned the way we're assigned to the board. It looks like diversity. It is diversity because you say you may have a person representing a senior, you may have a person representing Latins or Hispanics or what other area, youth or whatever. Well, I think it would be more effective if that individual not only represents that, but is active in that area. So in other words, if I'm a senior, I'm going to reach out, connect with all the senior organizations in the city, bring their issues back to this committee to identify. So that kind of affected me when I came in. I said, well, what am I supposed to be? Just because I'm a senior member? Or I'm going to represent the seniors? And to make it more efficient and effective, I should know what the senior concerns are. We go there. The other thing is that the district representatives should be in tune in the district so that they bring the district concerns back to that committee. So we got in this spectrum of community engagement that I see, there's a lot of gaps, but there's room for everybody to fill the gaps and make a more efficient and effective program to impact some of these diverse issues that we talk about. The impact on diversity is real. Now, I'm running out. Can I take a few more minutes? Yeah. Thank you. So, my thing is about being informed plus engaged equals empowered. But this trust and transparency that I've been trying to work with, you kind of make it hard for me to do that. When I talk to the people, they say, they're going to do what they're going to do. So what I'm seeing now is they don't need to hear, we need to show them the results. This is what we have done in your area, exact. So not the broad result, but this is in my district, in your community. And then I think maybe they can relate to that, rather talking broadly like that. So I think those are some of the things that we need to deal with.
And I want to be fair to everybody.
I'm fine,
yes.
I'll stop there. I just
Thank you.
felt that I needed to say those few things.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Veronica Clark. I'm going to be reading from my phone, so I'm sorry if I don't make eye contact. I have served on the Community Engagement Board for over a year, and I would just like to share some additional context about the board, as I know it's a fairly new council and that not everybody was here or in the position that they are in 2022 when the board was created. While I wasn't an inaugural member, I did have my eyes and ears open and was paying very close attention to what was happening in the city. So I feel that as a board member and an engaged citizen, I have a good idea of what the board is about and why it is still important to the city. Even as CACs are being brought back, all groups, including the CEB, are valuable assets to the city's engagement network. When CACs were disbanded in 2022, that was obviously such a shock for these groups and residents that have dedicated years and hours of their time to being engaged citizens. The Community Engagement Board was established as a sort of throwaway way for the city to say, we're not completely shutting down engagement, there's still a board, and the board will take a look at everything we're doing and make recommendations. It was very vague. So the board is completely different from CACs. It was created with very little guidance at the time, but since becoming an established board, we've made great strides in our progress towards honing in on the questions of where is the city missing the mark when it comes to community engagement? What does the community need in order to become more engaged? And how can we help bridge that gap? As we've begun to dig deep and explore these questions, really making progress as a board is when all of this turmoil began, which halted our progress. The Community Engagement Board should have always existed independently of CACs. Its existence should have never been tied to the existence of CACs because they both do extremely different but extremely important work. While CACs are so important and do need to be fully reestablished and everything, the Community Engagement Board shouldn't be disbanded or ignored. There's been some concern with why don't we have many members anymore? That was sort of explained by Taisha's slides. I can explain specifics if you guys want. But it seems like there's been a clear refusal, but no explanation as to why the new appointments and term renewals are not being paid attention to. I personally have 3 recommendations. 1, resume appointments and term renewals immediately. Expand the age range for the youth member to be 18 to 29 instead of 18 to 23, because that's just too much transition happening in their life at that time. And then think about what you want to see from the board and ask that of us, because it's still really important, but we are completely open to, direction and guidance and oversight and whatever you want from us. Disbanding the board and ignoring us would send a clear message, not just to us as citizens, very caring citizens, but to every engaged citizen that community engagement doesn't matter. And I know that's not true. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, everyone present. I bring you greetings from the Hispanic and Immigrant Affairs Board. I'm a member, not a chair. The chair is absent today, but my name is Carter Zarour, a resident of Raleigh. We have a concern about the consolidation. Number one, for the Hispanic and Immigrant Affairs Board, started a few years ago, supposed to be anchoring the immigrants community to the city, city politics and communities. And consolidating may lose focus, may undermine some of the work we have been doing for the last 5 years. We may have also one weakness. We think that you may marginalize people in the process. And the third really issue that we have is when you merge people together, you may lose members. Members may be shifting between boards, and we have lost already members on our board. So we think it's counterproductive to consolidate at this time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yep.
Hello, Ian Burnett. I'm on the Parks, Recreation, and Greenway Advisory Board. This is more of a general logistics suggestions for all of the boards is to set a more effective cadence for publishing the minutes on board docs or whatever, however you want to post it. When I looked back in March, the majority of the boards had about a 2-year gap between when the meeting happened and when minutes were published. And that's just for the main board, which a lot of them are televised, so you could watch the videos, whereas the committees are, it goes into the ether. So if the minutes for the committees and for the main boards could be published to a central place so we could see what's happening, that would be great, I think, for all of the boards and commissions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to weigh in? All right. I will just say thank you. I know everybody in here is serving on a board and commission and has spent a lot of time and energy, as many of you explained. So not only thank you for coming this evening, but for everything that you do. Anything else? Okay. Yes.
No, just a couple thoughts for me before we leave. I definitely don't feel we do need to merge the Transit Authority or the bike and peds, and that's something I've said from the beginning, just with their roles and the works they're doing. I like the comment that was just made about minutes. If we can just have staff follow up and figure out, what we need to do to get those minutes working with I know we have things over in I think 3 different departments. So if we can get those departments between the clerk's office, between communities affairs board, and then I think even the council's office, it has been a liaison to some boards. If we can just try to get some synergy there, I think that would be helpful.
Yes, sir, absolutely, we can do that. And also point out the board should be adopting their minutes in their regular open meetings, so that should be happening as well.
Yeah, so if we can make sure that's on the agenda. If it's not on your agendas, let's try to figure out going forward. And the last thing I would say, and it goes back to something that Ms. Coughlin said about the Human Relations Boards and why things were started. I was on the council when the Hispanic and Immigrants Board was started. And it was started because council was contacted and informed that they didn't feel the Human Relations Board was addressing their issues or their concerns. And the council decided to make that creation. I think what we really have to do is go back and look at these boards, how they were created, why they were created, and if they're not doing the job and the roles, just creating new board on top of new board, I think it goes to the point you made at our very first meeting. It doesn't really solve the issue of people fulfilling their roles and responsibilities. It's just punting an issue from one base to the next. So I definitely want us to go back and really look at that. And I'm asking, those who hear from the Human Relations Board, email us ideas of how you think we should look at some of the requests that have come before council. We've had requests come to council asking for a board to represent their particular community because they felt it wasn't being represented. So I just wanted to share that thought as we figure out our path forward.
Great.
Thank you. Yes, thank you all for being here. This is a really big topic, and I know that this may feel a little bit messy as we don't, there's confusion about the date of the meeting, and I know that kind of maybe ruffled some feathers, but we're trying, and you have a dedicated council up here who wants to get it right, and we want to figure out how to work with you. I want to acknowledge and commend Jamie Robinson from the Human Relations Commission, who, when we sat down a few months ago, handed me this report from Asheville and was like, hey, they've already done this. They've done this, and here's their report. And I went through and I read it, and I've been sharing it around. So I know a lot of people in the audience have read it. If not, please email me. I will send it to you. I've sent it to the task force as well as council to review. They're saying a lot of the same things. They've been through these same concerns. And in my mind, so you can see what I'm thinking, is how do we, more so than does this board merge with this one, is more how do we receive your information and how do you see it reflected in policy? Because that's where, when we're talking, that's what I feel like I'm hearing that you're missing. And I think that as we build this new strategic plan, and we're coming up, and I think that's being finalized now, I would love to see not a merging, but an assignment to those, to say, all right, if you have a question, your committee is, let's just say, Growth and Natural Resources, or is it Safe, Vibrant, Healthy Community Committee? So then you know that there's a spot for you to land to ask questions, because it's intimidating. I will say there's 8 of us and there's 28 boards, so it's not at all intentional. I understand how that can feel confusing, but boards and commissions are just one thing that we think about. And so there's a ton of other things that are going around in our minds, and to give you a place where you can be heard by council, maybe not just the liaison, might give us some more footing to work with. So that's where I'm going. That's where I think the Asheville report does a really good job of centering that. So please read that. And then for council, my last thought, and then I will stop, is beyond what we do with the boards and how we assign to them. They can come to Growth and Natural Resources. They can come to here. I think there's a missing gap of how we, as liaisons, transmit that information to each other and how we update that. Because I can say, like, I meet with SUAC. I'm so proud. Hey, Saul, I had a great meeting with you guys before when we talked about this, but I don't necessarily transmit all of that information to you, and vice versa. So I think there has to be something there that tells, if we're going to have a liaison, where do all those conversations happen so that all of council can benefit from the work that we are doing as liaisons with these boards. So those are my thoughts. Again, thank you so much for being here. Your work is very appreciated, and you do have a council that wants to get this right. And so sometimes it's going to be a little messy, and then we'll figure it out, and we'll be great. Thank you.
Yep. One small thing, if legal can go back and look at the Fair Housing Board, and let's get that right.
Mayor Pro Tem, did you have anything before we close down? All right, thank you. All right, well, appreciate everybody, and we will adjourn.